Welcome back to Generation Renovation. With the deadline fast approaching, Scott has already made a huge dent in this job. Framing on the first floor is nearing completion. The second and third floors are prepped for framing and about ready for their plumbing, heating, and electrical work. But if Scott wants to meet his Columbus Day weekend deadline, he's got to get his subcontractors in high gear.
We're going to take a walk up the second floor. I mean, right now you've seen everything that we've been doing on the first floor. The second floor, for the moment, is relatively untouched. So as we walk up, you know, the stairs that we're on, for example, are not to code. We're going to be reframing those to make it at a more comfortable level. The building has been renovated numerous times in the past 200 years. So there's just a lot of kind of pieces put together. And we're going to be kind of taking every quarter of each floor at a time because every quarter is essentially framed different. Right here, you can see obviously this little piece of 1x that these joists are connected to is really not kosher whatsoever. So we'll be putting a whole new load-bearing beam in here and rejoist hanger and everything, and really just bring it up so that the building is now safe for guests to stay in it. In here we go back to rough sawn joists, which are connected to 8x8 beams, but it's framed a different way. You look on the other section over here, you literally have trees that are cut in half, which are the original floor framing. And then somewhere during the renovation process, they stuck in these rough sawn 2x, which are actually floating below the floor, so structurally they're not doing anything. Just to see the mentality of people back in the day, that's literally a piece of firewood that somebody nailed up there for a fire block, or for a blocking to hold the floor together. You know, you can see the kind of the crazy stuff that happens over the years, 200 years worth of renovation work, and we've got to strip the whole thing back down, you know, take it all back down to the bones and basically just reframe it so that we can make it safe for the public. It's a pretty big mess, but you know, we've gone through it pretty heavily with the engineer and the architect and myself being a framing contractor by trade. You know, when I started my business, I mean, we've got it pretty well figured out. It's just, it's a long road. So this room will be, we're actually standing in one right now. This will be one in room here, and there'll be 4 total on this floor.
Okay.
So these are kind of back to back, like this chimney that you see right here. This whole chimney structure is actually going to go away because it's completely non-functioning. It just kind of takes up room. So the chimney will go away. We'll keep the chimney up on the upper roof. We'll actually rebuild it up top and support it up top so that the exterior historic value is kind of maintained. But on the inside, the chimney really just serves no purpose other than being in the way of a usable space. So that'll come down. The rooms will be reframed, you know, all this stuff all this framing that's done on the flat, we like to call it, you know, where the framing's all done sideways. This will all get replaced because it's really just not structurally sound. There's way too much, you know, flex in the boards back and forth as compared to how we frame nowadays, so.
I don't think I've ever seen construction like this with this type of board.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally a tree. You know, they just, you know, we mill them better nowadays, but this is literally just a tree that was like sawn in half. You can see the bark edge on it.
Right.
After removing the framing room by room, Scott then has to restud each room and get the building up to code. The third and fourth floors are still a mess and need some serious attention.
So right now we're up on the 3rd floor, looking up into the loft area. This is a really good example of kind of the old hand-hewn beams that they put in. I mean, you can literally see that, you know, every one of those little slices in that beam somebody literally did by hand. And then all these rafters are basically just trees that have been debarked and sliced down, and that's basically the roof system. So basically the next steps after we get through all of our framing is the plumber's going to come in. He's really going to get started. He starts up on this 4th floor and kind of works his way down. The heating guys are going to be kind of doubled up on him just for the sake of time. We usually don't like to do that because we like to give the contractors their space so they can work efficiently. We don't really have that luxury on this building because, you know, we're trying to do it in 1/3 of the time it should probably normally take. So we're going to stick the plumbers and the heaters in the same time. The sprinkler guys will be in the same time. So the whole building will get a whole new sprinkler system, which it never had before. Then the electricians will come in and basically go through everything, get it ready for inspections. There's a plumbing inspection, electrical inspection, and fire inspection, and sprinkler inspection. So we'll get it all ready for the initial inspections, and then once we're signed off on that, then we'll be able to close the building up and start insulating and sheetrocking it.
Will Scott and crew make their deadline? Stay tuned to Generation Renovation.